The night sky over Eastern Europe was quiet, almost peaceful, until the first drone crossed the invisible border. It was small, fast, and silent, nothing more than a shadow against the clouds. But within hours, that shadow would ignite a chain of explosions that would shake the foundations of Russia's war effort. This was the night Ukraine's drones crossed the line, a moment that changed everything. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Frontline Report channel. Please subscribe and like my videos to stay updated with the latest battlefield breakthroughs and geopolitical updates. It began with intelligence reports indicating unusual Russian troop movements. Satellite imagery revealed the construction of new fuel depots and aircraft shelters deep inside Russian territory. These were meant to serve as safe zones, logistical hubs far beyond Ukraine's missile reach. But Ukrainian strategists saw something else, an opportunity. Within a matter of days, engineers and drone specialists began planning one of the most daring long-range strikes of the war. On the exterior, the drones looked simple, compact, aerodynamic, and unassuming. Their sleek, dark surfaces absorbed radar waves, making them nearly invisible to detection. The wings were short but efficient, built from lightweight composite materials scavenged from both military and civilian sources. This was the new face of warfare, machines that didn't need to look intimidating to be devastating. Each drone carried a small warhead, carefully calibrated to inflict maximum structural damage without the need for massive payloads. Inside, the design was a masterpiece of Ukrainian ingenuity. The interior of the drones housed a sophisticated guidance system, integrating satellite navigation, terrain sensors, and AI-assisted flight software. This meant the drones could fly autonomously across hundreds of kilometers, adjusting altitude and course to evade detection. Every circuit was hardened against electromagnetic interference, ensuring that Russian jamming systems would fail to bring them down. Engineers even installed miniature cameras for real-time visuals, allowing commanders to see what the drones saw as they advanced. Performance-wise, this was Ukraine's breakthrough moment. The drones could reach speeds over 160 kilometers per hour and sustain long-range missions lasting up to 8 hours. What made them extraordinary was their ability to fly extremely low, barely above treetops, making radar tracking nearly impossible. By the time Russian defense systems noticed them, it was already too late. One after another, they pierced through layers of air defense networks designed to stop missiles, not swarms of small, fast-moving aircraft. The night of the operation was moonless, perfect for stealth. From multiple hidden locations across Ukraine, more than a dozen drones launched almost simultaneously. Their engines were quiet, their infrared signatures minimal. They glided across fields, rivers, and forests, their path illuminated only by data streaming through encrypted links. For operators back at command, it was like watching a deadly ballet unfold on their screens, each drone moving in harmony, each one locked onto a specific target. When they finally crossed the Russian border, there was no warning. The first explosions came from a logistics hub used to refuel aircraft. Flames rose hundreds of feet into the air, illuminating the horizon. Within minutes, secondary explosions erupted as fuel tanks and munitions caught fire. Russian soldiers ran for cover, unaware of how many drones were still incoming. The shockwave could be felt miles away, and by the time air raid sirens began to howl, 3 more strikes had already hit. What made this operation remarkable wasn't just the precision, it was the coordination. Ukraine's drone teams had synchronized their flight paths to arrive within seconds of each other, overwhelming Russian defenses. Even the most advanced anti-aircraft systems failed to intercept them, unable to differentiate between decoys and live payloads. This tactic, called swarm assault, became the new template for modern warfare. Safety features in these drones were as advanced as their offensive systems. Each unit was equipped with an encrypted self-destruct mechanism to prevent capture. If a drone lost communication or was diverted, it would automatically disable itself mid-air. Engineers also designed fail-safes for navigation errors, allowing drones to return to base or crash harmlessly in uninhabited zones. These features ensured that no sensitive technology would fall into enemy hands, even in worst-case scenarios. The unique selling point of this strike was its psychological power. Ukraine didn't just attack military targets, it attacked Russia's confidence. For decades, Moscow had operated under the belief that its homeland was untouchable. But that night, as flames engulfed bases and storage depots hundreds of kilometers inside its borders, that illusion shattered. The message was clear: nowhere is safe, not anymore. Every radar blip could be the beginning of another nightmare. From a cost perspective, the operation was a masterstroke. Each drone cost a fraction of what a Russian missile interceptor did. For the price of a single fighter jet sortie, Ukraine unleashed a fleet capable of inflicting millions in damage. Analysts calculated the cost-to-impact ratio as one of the most efficient in modern combat history. In a war where resources are stretched thin, this affordability was revolutionary. Ukraine proved that creativity and intelligence could outmatch brute force. In the aftermath of the attack, satellite images revealed the full extent of the damage. Massive fuel tanks had been reduced to twisted metal, entire hangars collapsed, Russian trucks and aircraft were reduced to blackened wreckage. More importantly, the attack disrupted supply lines that supported operations across multiple fronts. It forced Russia to pull back critical assets from near the border to deeper territory, weakening its offensive potential. Inside the Kremlin, the mood was grim. Reports from the military were contradictory, with some units claiming sabotage, others insisting on a missile strike. But when fragments of drone fuselages were recovered, it became clear Ukraine had crossed a line. Putin was said to be furious, demanding answers and immediate reinforcement of air defenses. Russian media downplayed the incident, but social media footage told the truth. Fire and chaos lit up the night in a way propaganda couldn't hide. The international response was immediate. Analysts across NATO called it a historic moment in asymmetric warfare. Ukraine had demonstrated that innovation, not scale, would define the wars of the future. Western allies praised the strike's precision and restraint. It targeted military infrastructure, not civilians, showing Ukraine's commitment to disciplined warfare even in retaliation. In war, perception is power, and Ukraine had just reshaped global perception. Technically, this mission revealed the next generation of battlefield engineering. The drone's internal flight control systems used hybrid AI algorithms that learned from previous missions, improving accuracy over time. Each attack made the next one smarter. Engineers could analyze flight data, adjust aerodynamics, and fine-tune fuel efficiency, turning every operation into a lesson. The modular build meant that even after heavy use, damaged drones could be repaired or repurposed using 3D printed part, something that gave Ukraine a massive logistical edge. Inside Ukraine, morale surged. The footage released from the strike sites was shared millions of times. People saw proof that courage and intelligence could rewrite destiny. The military called it Operation Crossing Point, symbolizing a moment where defense turned into offense. For the first time, Ukrainians felt they had taken the war back into their own hands, literally striking back at those who had attacked them for years. On the ground, Russian emergency teams struggled to contain the fires. Videos captured the eerie glow of flames reflecting off nearby rivers, while plumes of black smoke stretched into the atmosphere. The sound of explosions echoed for hours. It wasn't just destruction, it was a message written in fire across the Russian skyline. Strategically, the implications were enormous. Russia was now forced to defend deeper territory, stretching its resources. Bases once considered safe zones had to be fortified, draining manpower and funds. The strike forced Russia to deploy more radar systems, anti-air batteries, and interceptors across thousands of kilometers, an expensive and exhausting response. Ukraine had effectively changed the balance of strategic pressure. As the dust settled, military experts began calling this the first true deep strike of the war. It redefined how distance, defense, and technology interact on the battlefield. The drones had crossed not just a border, but a threshold in military evolution. It was no longer about who had more tanks or missiles. It was about who could think faster, adapt quicker, and innovate smarter. The conclusion of that night was clear. Ukraine had proven something that would echo for years. War is no longer fought by giants alone. Small, intelligent, connected systems could strike where armies could not. As dawn broke over the smoldering remains of the Russian base, one could almost sense the shift in the wind. This was the future of warfare, unfolding in real time. The night Ukraine's drones crossed the line wasn't just an attack, it was the moment modern war changed forever.